Hello. All right. I have approximately no plan for this live. Hi, Hales. But I have been going through it a little bit, and while I don't really know that I want to share the intimate details of that, I thought that maybe we could just hang out because I don't really want to be in an isolating state right now. I tend to do that when I am going through stuff, and it's really a toxic habit for me, is like pulling away and isolating. But you guys are incredibly loving and supporting and beautiful people, so I thought, how about instead of doing what I normally do when I'm hurting, I crack my heart open a little bit more instead of shut down, and I just spend some quality time with some amazing people instead. So I thought maybe we would just pull some collective messages and just vibe and chat, if that sounds good to you. Thanks for being here with me. Sorry if I look a little rough. I've been crying, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. But would I be a Pisces if I had not been? That is the question. Also, I will do that, the all signs. I will do the all signs, the you and them all signs. However, at this exact moment in time, I am not really capable of doing that reading for personal reasons. So I promise you that as soon as I'm able to channel those energies without having my own emotion too involved, I will get that reading to you guys. But yes, I thought we could just shoot the shit and maybe talk about some existential, I don't know, you know, the things that I like to talk about. You know, the things that we like to talk about in this strange little corner of the internet. So yeah, I thought maybe we could just see sort of what energetic archetypes are around at this time, especially because Pluto has finally officially moved out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, and I don't know if you guys feel the ripples, but it's super intense energy. Like, Pluto is not fucking playing, and I feel like it's triggering everybody, and people are like swinging in extreme directions. And the direction that I would like to extremely swing in is one where I embrace truth and love, even if nobody else decides to, because guess what, the truth and love is gonna remain regardless of whether or not we run from it. And so I would rather not run from it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I would rather sort of dive into things and see if we can get a little bit more insight maybe into the energies. But just a heads up, it is triggering out there. This energy is super intense. If we thought that Pluto in the final degrees of Capricorn was intense, bro, I don't know. But the shift into Aquarius is like big dick energy, but intensely. It's been hella rough, right, Sarah? Like, oh my gosh. I was like, it's gonna get easier, it's gonna get easier. And then it changed into Aquarius, and Spirit was like, it's not gonna get easier. So, but what I've done in the past is try to, like, I don't know. My entire life, I've always had to deal with things like on my own. Like, when I'm going through something and I'm struggling, I'm always going through it by myself. And because of that, I've kind of had this ingrained, like, idea that I keep perpetuating that's not healthy, that is like, I have to go through it by myself. I have to push people away that want to support and love me. I have to like spiral into a space of fear and cowardice that is going to consume me. But it's like, no, you also have the option of spiraling into a space of greater liberation and love, and it doesn't have to be that violent. So, even though the violence and the blood is what I am used to, Pluto in Aquarius, what's the vibe of that? Well, that's a good question. Pluto is the planet that rules Scorpio, and it's the furthest planet out. So it is kind of this planet of darkness and transformation, and the depth of transformation that happens in those dark spots, and how those deepest places within us, and sometimes the most triggering places to look at within us, are also the places where we can grow the most, right? That's like the place that holds the greatest potential for growth. But the, the sort of little like point added on to that is you have to be brave enough to actually go to that place and look at what's there and honor what's there, because obviously no transformation can take place. It's like your greatest fear holds the key to your greatest transformation and growth, right? And that is very much Plutonian energy. It's like, it's transformation through death and rebirth, of which no element of that process is really light, fun, and easy, but that's not really what Pluto is about. Pluto is more about power and bringing us into a state of true sovereign power through acceptance of all parts of ourselves, the darkest parts and the lightest parts, the love and the hate, the part that wants to numb and the part that wants to bleed. Pluto is like in the dark moments when it's just you and yourself. Can you accept all of you? Can you accept all of you? Can you let someone else accept all of you? Can you bring all of you to the world and offer that? Because that's intimacy, and that's beautiful, and that's what's needed, So that's kind of the energy of Pluto. If the energy of Pluto can even be captured and grasped. Pluto is very useful. It's just like, are you willing to look at your desire and your fear, The Aquarius part. So Aquarius is very much about, it's interesting. Aquarius is like the rebel, the humanitarian, the one who is very focused on being themselves, but also how can I be myself in a way that serves the whole? So how can I be myself in a way that brings positive transformation? Or how can I accept and embrace those positive transformations within myself as a means of not only honoring myself deeply, but also honoring the collective that I am a part of, right? So to me, Pluto in Aquarius is going to be very much about how deep are you willing to go in your own uncomfortable personal transformation and growth. There's actually a post about this on Instagram that someone that I follow who I really love, she's a badass, posted. So I'll read that for you guys because some of you might resonate with this and maybe we can have a conversation about it. How are you guys doing out there? I do have cards with me, so although I'm not doing an all signs, I might still pull some energies and messages, just what spirit wants us to know. But this post is by the Trap Witch on Instagram. So this is her, the Trap, wait, hold on. Where's my screen? The Trap Witch on Instagram. So I'll read you the string of this thread essentially that she wrote about this transit. So she said, "Bitch, this is the week that could change everything for you. Pay attention. This can be a life-changing time for you. Do you want to change your life? You better be open to deep transformation. On November 19th, so this was yesterday, Pluto moves into Aquarius. The planet Pluto rules transformation, power, rebirth, and the uncovering of deep truths and how we engage authority, including our own. So authority over self is basically sovereignty over our energy, right? So she said, what does this mean? If you're open to deep transformation in areas of personal innovation and collective growth, then it's time to be who you want to be and be with your real people. This is your time. Who do you want to grow into? Who do you want to grow with? What old paths and paradigms aren't serving you? Have you not been as authentic to yourself and your future? It's time to change that. You should be making decisions that prioritize authenticity, innovation, and alignment with your long-term vision. This is the time to let go of outdated beliefs or relationships that hinder growth and embrace opportunities for transformation, even if they seem unconventional. Your type matches your future self, not victim or addict you. Big badass, big business, big loving on your whole self you. Time to break up with your addictions, especially addictive relationships that keep you small, fake, and walking on eggshells or doubting who the fuck you are. She's like, fuck them, people. I love how just like sassy she is. Focus on choices that empower your individuality while also contributing to the collective good. Are you struggling with people who don't embrace your individuality and don't think you're valuable? They aren't a loss. Kick them to the curb, trash pickup. Trust your intuition to guide you towards paths and people that feel both liberating and sustainable. Aquarius is a big picture energy. It's time to let go of the mindset of just right now and focus on what is really right for you. So, essentially right now is, especially right at the beginning of this shift of Pluto, it's going to be triggering, and what it's going to highlight is the areas that we're conflicted within ourselves. And it's highlighting that not to punish us and not to freak us out, right? But it's highlighting that so that it's basically to force us to decide, what experience do you want for the future? Do you want what you've always had? Are you brave enough to pursue something different from that? What do you need to drop so that you're not making these life-changing decisions from a place of lack, scarcity, addiction? You have to be able to look in the mirror and understand that you have to live with the choices you make and whether they are true to you or not, because if you're making choices at this time that aren't true to you, then you're going to be running from yourself forever, and that's going to be painful ultimately, right? Because you don't really get too far when you're running from yourself. So that's essentially the energy. I thought that she summarized it really well, and especially just in the context of like how the beginning of this shift feels because it is triggering, it is heavy, it is, I think, really easy right now to slip into a comfort zone of complacency. And it's not easy to honor ourselves. Or it might be easy to honor like the small version of ourself, right? The ego version, the numbed out version, the version that's not actually aligning itself with true deep desire because it's aligned with deep fear instead. But there are going to be these things within every single one of us, and the degree that it hits us might be different, but it's going to show up within all of us, and it's going to ask you, are you happy with who you've been and the experiences and relationships and levels of love and abundance and success that you've had in your life up to this point? And if you're not, then it's not a time to shame yourself. It's not a time to rip yourself to shreds and say, well, because I've only ever experienced that, that's all I'm ever going to experience. It's never going to get better. I might as well spiral prove to myself that I'm right, that I'm a piece of shit, and just, you know, be consumed by the darkness, right? Because the thing is, eventually you're gonna have to face the truth and clean up that mess. So I think that, as with any time of being triggered, it's a good time to not make, like, to try really hard not to make erratic decisions from that place of fear and triggering, but more so to look inside and just honor the part of you that is afraid, you know, because that deep fear is tied to a deep desire. They're always tied together, right? Every deep fear has a deep desire tied to it, and vice versa, which is why in the Celtic cross spread, there's a part that is like, I'm not married. No. I am the Empress, though, but I'm not married. What's up, Kazam? But thank you. It took a lot of violence to soften into the Empress energy, I must say. It was a lot of blood and violence, and not pretty things were involved in the making of this and continue to be involved. But I guess that's the point that I'm trying to get across, right? Is that it's easy to look at the Emperor and the Empress, or even the Lovers in tarot, right? These archetypes, these ideas of being abundant and empowered and loving and passionate and successful and expansive, right? And I don't think anyone ever talks about the violence that it takes to get to that place of being that gentle. Like, sometimes people only become gentle because they're broken down so many times that they're forced to soften, and then they have to decide from rock bottom if they're going to harden themselves into oblivion, you know, and essentially let the hits that life has placed take their toll and win, or if they're going to, in those moments where they're hurting, choose to crack their heart open even further, like in the face of pain. Can you choose? Can you choose to love more instead of running away or shutting down in the face of loss? Can you still choose love? Because that's where the softness comes. That's where the abundance, like, really comes from. It's your own heart and your own willingness and strength to stay open, even when you feel broken, because those cracks do let more love in, right? Kazam, the healthiest hair I've ever seen. Thank you. The vibe and smile. Aw, mwah. Thank you, darling. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, I'm kind of struggling, you guys. I'm going through it a little bit. I'm experiencing the loss of something pretty deep that I love a lot. And so, as I am speaking this to you, it is kind of like what I am learning in real time. I'm just processing with you instead of like isolating and processing by myself. Because generally, I think that if one of us is feeling something or going through something, it's very rare that we're the only one that's experiencing that. It's very rare that won't resonate with other people or help somebody else that's feeling the same way. 30-minute morning stretches. Yes. 30-minute morning stretches. Yeah. And when it's also like, how do you choose to treat yourself when you're in that space of pain, right? Like, do you choose to punish yourself and tell yourself that that's what you deserve? Or do you choose to honor yourself and everything that you're feeling and still know what your truth and your feeling is within that space, right? And can you take care of yourself? It's essentially like, even if there's love lost elsewhere in your life, can you still show up and love yourself unconditionally and know that you deserve it? So, I don't know. I think for me, basically every lesson I've determined at this stage in my life, pretty much every challenge boils down to, can you bring love to the table? Can you bring love to the table? No matter what you're faced with. When you're faced with love that scares you, can you show up and sit down across from it and bring love to the table? When you're faced with self-destruction or the desire to spiral and to justify all the worst things that you think about yourself, can you bring love to the table? When someone is triggering you, or when someone is gaslighting you, or when someone removes themselves from your life, can you still bring love to the table? If not for them, then at least for yourself and the situation. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is that when we cut off love, there's just so much damage done in that process, you know? And when we lean into love, there's nothing bad that can ever come from that, truly. I'm not saying that it's always comfortable. I'm definitely not saying that it's always comfortable, because it's definitely not. But in my experience, it's never been not worth it to show up in love, you know? It's wild because some days I feel like I so deserve it, and other days I'm feeling this feeling of being uncertain about if I deserve it. Tales of an ex-alcoholic trying so hard to not relapse. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you so much. And the thing is, like, we all have, it's like every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. All we really have is the now, and in every single moment, we choose how much love we're going to bring to the table, how much we're going to choose to be sovereign over our energy rather than letting our energy just turn into a swirling black, like, tornado of chaos to just consume us and take us away to the darkest place where all of our fears are confirmed, you know? And I've slipped into that place many times before in my life. And it's possible to crawl back out of it, obviously, but it does hurt you when you do that, you know? And I think I'm at the place now where I don't think I can really do that to myself anymore. Like, I'd rather embrace truth and love, even if it is unrequited, or even if it hurts, or even if it's uncomfortable, even if it forces me to face things about myself that are hard to look at. At this point in my life, lying to myself or other people is just too heavy. It's the heavier weight to hold in every situation. It's like, I can't really force myself to do it, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But I do feel very soft. Like, squishy and exposed and vulnerable. I also don't think that's a bad thing, but it's new for me. It will take us there quick as fuck, yeah. Being able to hold a beautiful space for ourselves is a lesson. You never know when another friend may go through a hard time. And remember, oh, there's the option to love. Yeah, exactly. Every time we stand up and we plant that, you know, we plant that, like, flag on the hill of love and say, this is the hill that I'm dying on, you know, so help me God. That is a revolution. That is a revolutionary act in a world that is so overrun with fear, and in a world that where every direction you turn, there's something strategically placed to make you doubt yourself, to make you not see who you really are. It is a revolutionary act to love instead. Every single time you choose love, you have no idea how powerful that ripple is that you're sending out. It's never, ever, ever a mistake, and nothing is ever lost. This is my hill, damn it. Me too. How can a purpose take a step that isn't in their truth and live with themselves? Yeah. A person. Yeah, how can a person take a step that isn't in their truth and live with themselves? I don't know. I don't personally really believe that you can. But I think if you are capable of becoming a stranger to yourself by shutting yourself down so much that you can deny your own truth, then maybe you can live in ignorance. I don't know. I know that when I try to deny my truth, it hurts more than anything else. And it's like, no matter how I try to escape it, I can't, because I'm running from myself, and it's always there. I can try to distract myself. I can lean into addictions or things that feel good in the moment or things that take me further away from myself. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to still run into myself again, So it's like, why would I inflict all that damage on myself, pulling myself away from me and my heart and my truth and my desire and my path? It just doesn't really, I can't do it, It's okay that other people can do that, because that's just maybe where they're at on their path and with their own journey of self-love, but I really can't do it. It hurts you too, yeah. A lot of people struggle with love at the best of times. So if you can love at the worst of times, then you are strong and stable. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's crazy how the world will convince you that loving and opening your heart makes you weak and susceptible, when it's like, that's people that have never actually felt divine love saying that shit, because divine love makes you strong. Even when it triggers you and makes you weak, you will look back and you will see that was, if you can sit with yourself in those moments, that is true strength. Like, that is the universe giving you an opportunity to become more sovereign over yourself, which is true power. Hey, Vanessa. It's always aligned to your path. Yeah. I mean, I think that no matter what, if we take an intentional step, who is to judge whether that is aligned with our path or not? If you're choosing that direction, then maybe that's the path you're choosing, People have free will, and that's the thing that is the most powerful thing in the world, but also can be really hurtful, because it's like, you can't force somebody to live their truth, or you can't really even define what that person's gonna make their truth, because whatever we convince ourselves of, whatever we tell ourselves consistently enough, that will shape our reality, and it will be true to us, right? If you choose to focus on fear, you will live a fearful, paranoid life, and that will be your reality, and that will be the path that you chose, and you'll get exactly what you poured into. Yeah, for sure. Ask me questions. I'm just rambling. I just wanted to come and hang out and connect with you guys, honestly. You guys can ask me anything. I'm pretty much an open book. You can pick my brain. And if I need help explaining it, I will just pull some cards. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think that the strongest thing that we can do is to choose love. And sometimes choosing truth and choosing love is the same thing as well, you know, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when the truth is a hard truth, even when the love comes in the form of tough love, you can still be in the space of love. Pull a card and see what archetype I'm in. Yeah, I would be curious. A hot mess archetype. No. Yes, I can do, I'll pull one for me. I'll pull one for, the collective that is present here, like what you guys are experiencing. Jacks up your timelines. Let's see what is going on here. I have this deck here, which I thought would be good because it's about alchemy, and that is kind of Scorpio Plutonian sort of energy. So I thought that maybe we could see what energies are being alchemized right now and see what's going on. So maybe we could also pull and see like what is ultimately alchemized if you choose love at this time on your path, and what is going to be alchemized in your life as a result if you decide to choose fear, so that maybe you can kind of get some insight into the overall path that's going to take you down, or where you feel more safe being, you know what I mean? You asked your question. Jacks up our timelines? Jacks up our timelines? What? What was the question? I'm so sorry. Oh, here. Do you think it's possible? I totally missed. I'm so sorry. I totally missed the message ahead that. Do you think it's possible that doing something out of your character can put you in physical danger, even if you don't see immediately around you anywhere? Do you think it jacks up your timelines? I'm so sorry. I totally missed that whole massive part ahead of time. It depends what you consider danger. Like, any decision that you make to take you away from yourself, you are harming yourself. That is danger. It is not just like the threat of danger, but like you're actually inflicting the harm through that decision. You're basically fragmenting yourself off from your highest, most authentic self. You know, it's like severing yourself off from who you are. There's no way to avoid damage when we choose to do that. So it's okay to make those choices sometimes, because you can come back from it, you can heal it. But I think that when people consistently make choices to separate and sever themselves off from who they are, that's when we get people that are psychopaths. That's when we get people that are narcissists. And it's because they're so removed from their own ability to feel empathy, even for themselves, because they're not being real with their experience anymore. And it's like they don't even know the truth anymore because they're so deep in the denial and so removed from themselves. You know what I mean? You're glad you're working on self-harm. I'm so proud of you. You must feel amazing. 2 months is a long enough time to really start feeling and seeing the results. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. And I can only say from my own experience, right? And like, I've observed other people and I can see where their choices to run from themselves took them. But I can't judge whether or not they're happy where they are. That's them. That's their choice, you know? But you are going to be where you put yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you make choices out of fear, you're going to be in a space of more fear, because what you're feeding is going to be the beast that grows. That's just how energy works, right? So what you choose is what you will become, and so just choose wisely. But you're the person at the end of the day that has to live with it, right? So if you're okay living with it, then you can make any choice really along your path. Okay. You're going to be where you put yourself. My dad used to always say, you are where you are because that's where you want to be. And when I was younger and like not as accountable and responsible for my own energy, I was very much like, I don't want to hear that, because I want to say that I am where I am because of my circumstances, you know, that I am a victim of my circumstances, or that I'm here because I'm fucked up because people hurt me. But it's like, no, you really are where you are because you're choosing to be there. Because even if somebody does, even if you do go through pain, it's your choice to look at yourself, to love yourself, to heal yourself, to recover. Or you can choose to perpetuate that pain, to pour salt in it, to keep touching the wound, to not accept love when it does come your way that would heal you, to not look at the truth of what got you to that hurtful situation, because we all play a part in our circumstances. And I'm not saying that we cause our circumstances always, because there's lots of different elements that go into that, but yeah. Okay, let's pull an alchemy card. Let's pull a couple cards. Let's just see what Spirit wants to say. Sit down, y'all. My mom would give y'all a chance. Cause Zam has too much energy. Energy to share. Let's see what's alchemizing right now. Let's see what's alchemizing in the collective in general. And then let's see what's alchemizing out of a space of love and what's alchemizing out of a space of fear. And the thing is, right, that there will be both within all of us to some degree, because no one is like 100% in the energy of love 100% of the time. We would be God if that was the case. And while we do have the divine within us, we're still human and imperfect. We still have fear that we come up against. And that's just part of our growth, right? Like that exists for a reason, because it's part of the duality of all things. And the duality exists so that it can contrast and add context and help us understand, right? Like I say it all the time, but we would never know what the light is if we did not have the darkness, because how would you ever know? If you're always in the light, you would never know, you know, that something else exists, or you would never even really have a full idea of the concept or understanding of what the light is. It's like sometimes we have to be removed from things to fully appreciate them. And sometimes I think as painful as it is, at times the measure of love is loss. And sometimes it's just because that's what it takes to understand what you have. You know, sometimes we learn through losing things. Sometimes we gain appreciation for the sun because we spend a long time in a period of dark night, you know? So, okay. Let's see what is overall alchemizing at this time for the collective. Okay, we got summer for what's alchemizing for the collective overall. And then what is mostly alchemizing from a space of when love is the focus. When love is the focus. Okay, we have calcification. And when fear is the focus. When fear is the focus. You got winter. Yeah, you did get winter a couple weeks back. That's true. What is being alchemized when fear is the primary focus? Okay. And we have Sons of Splendor. This is so Plutonian. Oh my God. It's coming through kind of backwards, but that's because that's how Pluto works, right? I told you Pluto transforms through pain, right? So it's like when you focus on the pain, it's not talking about, what's up, Rhoda? It's not saying like, be consumed by the pain. It's saying when you face your pain, that's when you actually get to this place. Not when you perpetuate it, but when you sit with it, right? It's interesting though, because I heard complacency when I looked at this card. I'm gonna need to clarify that a little bit more. Rhoda, I'm just pulling some cards on like Pluto in Aquarius and the shift that just took place and kind of what is alchemizing for the collective right now. And I talked a little bit at the beginning about how Pluto kind of like is a triggering planet that transforms mostly through the shadow, through death and rebirth, and through some darker kind of like heavier forms. But yeah, so we're just kind of looking into what's underlying, something that we need to take note of that's influencing. Blood, literally. Okay. Let's look at these cards and see what's wanting to come through with this. Okay, so the overall, I got some lip stuff on because my lips are getting dry. Summer. Oh, I turned right to it. Okay. I am being real and authentic. I'm trying my best, guys. Okay, so this is what's primarily being alchemized by this energy. It's summer, and it says fullness, vitality, and sensuality. To experience summer is to be embodied. The summer air kisses every crevice of our body, opening us up in ways long forgotten. Lust, desire, laughter, sweat, physicality, these are all expressions of summer's fullness shining through. When this card appears, know that the senses are heightened and the work is nearing full expression. It may feel as though things are being electrified or about to burst. Keep in mind that like all alchemical seasons, summer will soon pass. For now, everything in your narrative is fleshed out and the story has just another chapter or two until it begins again. So revel in this time of ripening and rhythm. Celebrate, gather, and connect. Whether the season is literal or metaphorical, let yourself be swept into the pulse of these hot and heavy nights. And it says to ponder all that is ripening. So it's very interesting, right? Because You never wear a shirt or pants in summer. I would love to be a man. But it's basically saying, it's interesting because summer, it's a positive energy, but you note how a energy of intensity is also very present with this, right? Where it says things are nearing full expression, bloom, but I wonder how a flower feels inside the bud the moment before it bursts into bloom. Probably not that comfortable, Shit probably feels a little bit intense. And they don't know the flower doesn't know at that time that it's going to blossom and be this thing of beauty. It has no idea. It has to trust the fucking process and sit with itself until it gets there, right? But things might feel, and I love the way that it used the word electrified, because to me that's very like Uranian, and Uranus is very tied to Aquarius, obviously. It's one of its rulers. So this is a time that we are meant to lean into the feeling of it and to get lost in being fully present and feeling almost like we are inside of the experience. We are embodied in our experience. There is no way of being anywhere but right where you are right now, fully encapsulated in it, in the power of the present, which is really all that we ever have anyways, right? But to me, the summer is also like, appreciate where you are right now too, because after summer comes fall and things are going to continue shifting and transforming. Summer is a phase where you want to enjoy those hot nights, you want to enjoy the laughter, the sweat, the lust, the desire, whatever is being pulled out of you at this time. You don't want to be frightened by it. You want to let it kind of build you up and feed you. Because you are ripening right now. You are coming into a state of bloom. But it is a time to kind of be with yourself, no matter how you feel in that, because there is a sense of discomfort and intensity like this talks about, but there's also a way to find your rhythm within that intensity as well. And it's not impossible. In fact, you'll probably feel insane if you don't find your rhythm within this intensity, because it's not gonna, this is a 20-year transit, and Pluto isn't getting less intense anytime soon. So if you're trying to avoid it, good luck to you, my friends. I wish you luck. Aye, Captain. But I will not be following you on that journey because I don't foresee it ending well. Okay, let's look at this calcification energy. I'm really curious about that. Hold on. Calcification, okay. 219. Trying to avoid a whole planet. Right? And it's the planet that is imbued deepest in the deepest part of you, right? Because it's as within, so without. Everything that's outside of us is also inside of us, and Pluto being the furthest out in the darkness, what it really represents is the deepest point within us that holds those things that we push, that we repress, that we it holds everything that's in the darkest spaces, the insecurities, the fears, all of that. Okay, calcification. It says heat, fire, and desire. It's interesting how both of these energies have to do with the element of fire. See, on the summer card, there's this, it talks about fire also. There's definitely something being lit, and yeah. you could see it as something, a fire being lit within you, or you could see it as you being triggered. And I think it just kind of depends on the narrative, like the way that you spin your current experience. And that's a big part, I think, of why it's so important to stay present with your experience, whatever it is at this time. Because if you're not present with it, then the intensity is, it's like the raw intensity of the energy. That's my Rottweiler yawning. Jangs, are you okay? Sleepy boy. The intensity of the energy will just kind of have its way with you, you know, and you will not really be picking your own path because you won't be in sovereignty over your energy. And this energy that is around us is powerful enough to like sweep people away who are not standing strong on their own 2 feet. Like, this energy is really gonna separate the weak from I mean, I'm not trying to like, you know, offend anybody, but it's like, it's these kinds of energies that show you who the warriors are and who's like hiding under the table waiting for the storm to pass. You know what I mean? Because this is not a storm that's just gonna roll by. This is a storm that is in the deepest part of you. So are you gonna face it, or are you gonna run from the deepest part of yourself? And where are you going to have to put yourself to escape that? Okay, so calcification says heat, fire, and desire. And this is the energy that's being alchemized when we lean into love at this time. So it says, calcification is the great alchemical operation of fire, which occurs when there is enough heat in the vessel to transform the nature of that which is solid or fixed. Holy fuck. How does calcification begin? With a tiny glimmer, an urge, a desire that builds into a robust flame. On a psychic level, this stage may be an uprising of emotion that has been repressed or dismissed. It wants something big to change, to be brought to light and purified, perhaps a flawed ideology, institution, or outlook. This is exactly what I was talking about. Frustration and anger are wondrous change makers if their heat is channeled with space, time, and awareness. The transformation that occurs from calcification is rarely harmonious. It requires commitment and a willingness to sit through discomfort as old patterns fall into the ashes. The flame initiates sacred change, and eventually the phoenix rises. Wow, that energy is incredibly powerful. This is what I'm talking about. Pluto is a planet of tough love. It looks into the deepest part of you, the part that you don't even want to see. It looks at what you have repressed or dismissed. It looks at where the flaws are, where the weak links are in your ideologies, in your foundations, in your outlooks. It looks at the frustration and the anger and the pain and the triggers that are pulling the strings from that deep, forgotten place within you, and how it is those things steal your power, how they take away from you, and how the more you perpetuate them, the more you lose yourself. And so Pluto doesn't give a fuck if you feel comfortable or not, because it wants what's best for you at the end of the day. And it knows that the deepest, darkest place is the place that needs love the most, in you and in everybody else around you. So this time is also about being patient and loving with one another, even as we are collectively triggered and struggling, right? But yeah, this is what I was talking about. There's going to be people that are feeling triggered right now, and they're going to be triggered by their own emotions that are coming up, the things that they have not wanted to look at. And these things aren't coming up to like destroy their life. It's Pluto pointing and poking at them, because when these things are brought to light, we can purify them, we can transmute them, right? The fire can create this really deep change, this transformation. And it does require commitment and willingness, and it does require the acceptance of deep discomfort as an inevitable part of the process. The thing is, that's going to be there whether or not you accept it or not. It's just kind of like Pluto is like, do you want to go kicking and screaming? Or do you want to go gracefully with more of an understanding of what you're stepping into, and ultimately more power and control where there isn't a lot of power and control to be had? Sometimes the most power and control we can have is just being present, staying present with what we're going through, no matter what that is, and loving ourselves and each other through that, right? So when we focus on love during this time, the ability for massive transformation is possible, and I think that is so beautiful. Okay, so when we choose to lean more into fear, then we have this Sun's Splendor card as well. You know, there's gonna be blood either way. I know this isn't what people want to hear, but there's gonna be violence either way. What's up, Daniel? How's it going? Are you soaking up some Cali sun for me? Okay. Sun's Splendor. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. It's a million times better than me just feeling isolated and sad. I can promise you that. Let me see. Okay. So when we lean into the fear, this is going to trigger the divine masculine inside of us. And it's the part of us that longs for more generosity, health, and abundance. Okay. So basically what this is saying is that no matter which direction you choose to point yourself at this point in time, this transformation can't be avoided. I already knew this, but it's unavoidable. You can run, you can hide, but you will not escape Pluto. Because like I said, it represents the deepest point within all of us. The part that you would have to completely lose yourself to sever yourself off from that part, right? Hold on. I'm going to let my Rottweiler upstairs because he's kind of whining and being a little bit of a turd head. Hold on. James, you want to go upstairs? Go? Let's see who's home. Yeah, I love you too. I love you too. See who's upstairs. Go see. All right. He's on his path. He's on his path to explore the upstairs realm of things and see who just came home. Okay, so it's basically saying you can't run from this transformation because, again, it's going to be something that just keeps on triggering you from within, right? And it is as within, so without. So it's like the more you do try to run and hide from these things that you can't run and hide from, the more you'll actually be drawing them to you because they're drawing awareness. Again, it's not to punish you, but it's drawing awareness to these spaces that you are meant to look at. So the more you run, the more you're going to be drawing in even more situations, opportunities, messages, experiences, people that are going to trigger you to look at the thing that you're running from. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you can't outrun God. You can't outrun yourself. You can't outrun the universe. You can't outrun the wheel of fortune. You know, the wheel is gonna turn. It's just, you can choose how you deal, right? How you respond or react. Are you gonna react out of a triggered place? Are you going to cause harm? Are you going to hurt yourself and others? Are you going to be honest with yourself? Are you going to take this opportunity of feeling vulnerable to get closer to yourself and your truth so that you can be more fulfilled and at peace in the future, you know, than you have been? It's like everything that comes to us is a teacher and a messenger, but we have to listen to it. And this is a message that's not going to stop knocking from the deepest part within you until you answer the knock, right? But this card represents the long-term effects of making choices that align you with abundance, fulfillment, and altruism. Celebration and collaboration. And how you need to take it one day at a time. So it says, kindness and generosity are the secret ingredients. All other paths fall away. Through giving back to others in the world, we become more like the sun itself, radiant light and expecting nothing in return. If you don't know where to start, thank someone, then thank another person. Soon you will find you're not alone, and miracles will arrive, both small and large. So again, it's about choosing to be... Like, if you want generosity, love, and abundance, then embody generosity, love, and abundance. That's how you call things towards you anyways. You embody those energies that you want to come towards you. And once you're embodying that energy that you desire, everything around you in your environment is going to be triggered to either come closer to you because it aligns with the energy that you are embodying and radiating, or it's going to be triggered to flee from your presence because it can no longer stand to be in that energy that you are exuding. So if someone, for instance, is running from truth and love while you are embodying truth and love, they're most likely going to get triggered and disperse from your life, you know, and you need to know that that has nothing to do with you. You're choosing love and they're choosing fear, and that's okay, but the things that are not aligned are going to fall away at this time. So the underlying energy that they want us to take note of is blood. Let's see what that's all about. But the thing is, right, it's not, I don't think it's a time to judge each other. Again, it's a time where kindness, especially with that Aquarian energy, you're going to need to know your own boundaries and how you can still show up in the service of love to offer and share love when we all collectively need it the most at this time, right? Because the things that are being poked and prodded and pulled out from the darkest, deepest parts of us, that's not easy for anyone. Even the people that are choosing to sit and be present and face those things, we're still humans. We still have fear, you know, we're still imperfect. We still get triggered. It requires a level of courage and bravery, and it's really an important time, I think, to show up for each other as well. Because it's like, no matter how people are acting at this time, understand that we are all feeling this energy. And everybody is responding or reacting in a different way to it based on what's being pulled up from inside of them and how ready and willing they are to face themselves. Do you know what I mean? So the blood card, it says the pulse, physicality, and the body. I agree. I think this card is beautiful. I don't think there's anything to be scared of about blood. Blood is, you know, what runs through our veins and pumps through our heart and reminds us that we're alive when we bleed, right? It's not anything bad. It says, literally, look at the first line, Haley. It's like, have no fear of the blood card. I didn't even see that until just now. So yeah, it says, have no fear of the blood card. It indicates a remembrance of the vital mammalian nature of our existence. Drop by drop, this sacred elixir reminds us that we are alive, not merely thinking beings, but being beings. When blood is the prima materia in the laboratory, the alchemist uses the physical body as the starting point, building a relationship to the container that houses the spirit. Through the limbs, organs, and cells, we witness the miracle of life, one heartbeat at a time. Eventually, and naturally, we partake in practices that support and nourish blood's life-giving nature. We learn to honor and protect it. In alchemy, red is the color of vitality and radiance. With this card, you've dropped into the vital realm. Sing the body's praises. And it says to ponder the presence of the pulse. So, again, this is about being present. And there's something also about making sure that we are very grounded in our body. Actually, there's an email that I got last night. I get emails from like the Enneagram Institute. I don't know if you guys know your Enneagram type, but it's basically like a personality thing. Kind of like Myers-Briggs and that sort of thing, but there are like 9 numbers essentially that you can be. Okay. And it came through. So it said, how can you fully experience your presence here and now? How can you be inside your experience, fully connected with the sensations of life in your body? But then it says, the ego responds to stress and threats to itself by causing our bodies to become tense and constricted, and by withdrawing our attention from direct engagement with reality. So in other words, it pulls us, hi bestie, ENFP, J, and type 4. Woo. But yeah, it says like, that when we get stressed or when we feel threatened, the natural tendency of our body, right? We constrict, we tense up. Not only that though, but our attention gets pulled out of the present moment, right? Yeah, those emails are so good. They're always so freaking on point. It's ridiculous. I'm always like, how are you reading my life right now? But yeah, essentially when we feel stressed or triggered, we get pulled out of the present moment. We're no longer directly engaging with truth and reality. We're sucked into fear, paranoia, worry, the past, the future, but we're not in the now anymore, and therefore we're not in our power. So it says tension and disengagement creates an imaginary boundary within which we feel safer. However, we've also lost connection with the ground of our being and with our true nature. So there's a lot on the line, you know? And there's something about being really present right now, because there is going to be tension, there is going to be triggers, there are going to be these things that come up for us right now that we have to face. One way or another, we will be having to face these things within ourselves. It's just like, how far are you going to run before you are forced to face it? Or are you going to willingly sit down with like character and honor and love and be with yourself no matter what comes up? Realize that there's nothing to be afraid of within you, because once you acknowledge and become accountable for whatever comes up, you are then consciously sovereign over it, right? You are empowered even more fully because you allowed yourself the opportunity to be, because you didn't run from it. So there's a lot to be gained through that process, even though it's not easy, you know? And trust me, it's not easy. It's really, really not easy. So also don't be hard on yourself if you feel like you're getting pulled in and out. Or if you're kind of wobbling back and forth between being present, being courageous, being in that energy of the truth and love needed to transform even without the discomfort, and disconnecting, numbing, being triggered, being afraid, because I think that that's probably going to be pretty normal for a lot of people. I don't know what else I should ask. But yeah, there's definitely themes. The feminine cycle of vulnerability and humanness. Yes. Letting your dogs out. Nice, me too. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should ask if there's some advice for us right now. What the best advice would be, or what do you guys think is needed in terms of guidance most at this time? Where do you feel stuck or lost, or where you would like a little more insight? What do you think? Just general advice? I could ask for a message directly from Pluto. If anyone's going to be able to channel Pluto rawly right now, it's me. Don't worry. What we need to know right now to be aligned towards our highest path. Yes. I'll ask Pluto what we need to know right now. To move with that energy towards our highest path. Let's see. I'm going to put these cards back. The timeline of treats. I don't know if this energy is that predictable, to be honest. I don't feel like I can really... yeah. I don't know if it's a time to do a predictive type reading, if you know what I mean. Because again, the energy is all about being present right now. So it's not really about... You want to stay in the now. You don't really want to focus too much on down the road, because it's the now that informs the future, right? It's in every present moment, how can you make choices that are going to take you where you want to be, but you still want to be focusing on this moment, not where you want to be, if that makes sense. Being present in the now and making those choices that honor yourself, that's what's actually getting you to where you want to be. Okay. Let me see. Which text should I use? Okay. Got some oracle decks here. Being present is so underrated. People think they don't need to actually sit and realize their own presence. Yeah, it does. It's you'll never truly be powerful if you don't know yourself, if you don't know yourself. How can you be in power and sovereign over yourself? You know what I mean? Advice from a goddess. Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask Pluto specifically because you're gonna go get a croissant and a dirty chai. Mwah, excellent choice. Sounds like you're living your best life. Go off. Okay. Let's see. Gotta go grab the kitties. Kitties and dogs. Kazam's just living their best life over there with the pets, the surrounding pets. Okay. So yeah, let's just see what advice, because Pluto's kind of the one running the show right now. It's sort of the instigator of the transformation again. And really by asking Pluto, what I'm really asking is that deepest part within us, what is needed most for it to transform and allow us to be more empowered over ourselves rather than, kind of like kick back, buck up against that part of ourselves. Because when you're fighting yourself, I mean, you're obviously not going to win. So we kind of want to see how we can avoid doing that. Okay, let's see. We have to say. Rage and joy. So Pluto's like, let it all exist. Let it all out. See, it's the poison that wants to be brought to the surface. And it's kind of like when you get bit by a poisonous animal and you suck the poison like out of the wound, that is what wants to come out. And it's okay if you have these repressed feelings that are super uncomfortable, that are wanting to like explode out of you. Then stop repressing it, because obviously the repression is how we got to this point to begin with, right? So continuing to run from, deny, numb out, or it's like it's not gonna obviously do any fucking good, right? To run from this thing that is inside of you. The thing that's going to help it is to release it and to sit with it and honor yourself while that happens, because what is underneath it, or what you're making space for, is joy. It's like something lighter wants to take the place of that. Do you know what I mean? But Pluto is like, don't be afraid of the rage, and don't be afraid to maybe channel the heavier parts. What's up, Moran? Into something helpful as well, like maybe physical activity, so that you can kind of combine the need to stay grounded and present with this like release, right? So maybe you want to have like a stretching or a working out process, some sort of like sweat sesh that gets you in your physical body, connects you to your senses, grounds you. Okay. One more. Wow, this is... Okay. Anything other than that one? This is really intense energy. Like I said, Pluto's like, I love you, but I don't give a fuck about your comfort, okay? Because that's not what helps you grow. Comfort is what stagnates you, and that is no life to live ultimately. A stagnant life is a life that doesn't have much life in it at all, You're scared? Okay, well, that's the one that wants to be seen. So the bully card came out. So this is a super this is a lot, okay? This is really a lot. This has the potential to go horribly, horribly wrong. Not trying to scare anybody, but I feel like this is why Pluto is like, let me just sit down, buddy. Let me tell you a couple things, because you need to know so that you feel a little more prepared. But the bully card in the light attribute is highlighting our tendency to intimidate others and confront the inner fears that bully us. So it's the fears of those deepest, darkest places and the things that we've hidden and repressed there. That's exactly what we're being asked to face. And it's coming through with a sort of violence that is very Plutonian. I don't know what else to say. But the shadow side of this bully energy paired with rage is pretty ugly, because it is concealing our own deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. And this could be maybe like exploding and bubbling out of people in kind of an unpredictable and hi, Truth Wave. People who are not handling these energies super well, because they don't want to look at what's coming up from their own depths, they might project to take the attention off of how scared they are. They might become rageful. They might become abusive in some sort of way. Like, they might push you back with a force that doesn't feel necessary for the situation. You know, like, you might not understand where this energy is coming from. And I think it's important to remember that it's not about you. And this is always the case all the time. Like, other people's actions are truly a reflection of their state of their relationship with themselves internally. People treat you how they feel about themselves. So this is a reflection of the person that you're dealing with, if that's how they decide to react, right? But you also have the choice to respond. It's like you can make space to be the best version of yourself that you can be right now by integrating some of these parts that have been neglected or repressed, or that you've been too afraid to offer love and consciousness to. It's a great opportunity for growth, even though it's uncomfortable, but there's also the opportunity to be like the worst version of ourselves if we choose to, instead of taking the trigger for what it is, which is just like a messenger that's trying to tell you something to help you. If you take it more as like a personal attack because you're not dealing with your own fears and triggers, then, you know, people will do things that are not in their normal character. They'll act in ways that are very, again, it's like bullying, it's intimidating, it's harsh, but it's because they're confronting you instead of confronting themselves. Do you know what I mean? So we have the opportunity, and this is as it always is with that Plutonian energy. It's dark and heavy, and it's like, you're either going to use that to transform for the better, or it's going to transform you into more of like a monster, because you're not sucking the poison out, but you're giving the poison more rulership over you, right? And there kind of isn't really like a third path. It kind of is like you're facing it or you're not. And the energy is so big and bold that, yeah, there's no real way to like skirt around you can't really stay on the edges of this thing. One way or another, you're gonna get pulled into it, because again, you're just being pulled into yourself, right? Okay, so there are building blocks available to us at this time. There's the potential for great growth. However, we are all at this juncture or this fork in the road. And anything that does not add to your peace, there is no more time to waste. It's time for that thing to go. Anything that is fighting itself, if you are in the energy of moving towards like love and truth, you can still offer love and truth to that situation or person, but understand that you're moving in opposite directions because you're on a path of enlightenment and acceptance, and they are running away. So cowardly people are some of the most dangerous people. And it's not because they're necessarily bad people, but it's because they don't have the strength to do the right thing when it matters. And there can be a lot of collateral damage in those situations, you know what I mean? Because desperate people will resort to desperate actions to keep themselves away from what they don't want to see about themselves, especially. And Pluto energy can get really fucking dark. So just be aware that I think we are going to see in the collective some major triggering happen. It's already happening, and it's going to essentially trigger one of two ways. Like I said, towards enlightenment and the cracking open and further acceptance of self, so that you can be more empowered and sovereign, and so that you can bring more of that energy to the collective as well as an act of service. It's like you're not just being asked to be brave for yourself at this time, you're being asked to be brave as an act of service to your fellow man as well. Because when you do bring that energy out of yourself, you perpetuate it, you radiate that energy goes somewhere. It doesn't just sit within you. You don't always understand how much power and strength the ripple effect of your energy is. And when you choose love over fear, that is incredibly powerful. That ripples out and it affects the people around you. But we have building blocks, but then we also have co-create in reverse. So again, it's kind of making me feel like we're all at this fork in the road, right? And there's two paths. Again, there's it's only really two options. And some people are going to choose to take this raw energy and create and build something out of it, and others are going to choose to not want to work with it. So let's see what it says in the book about these cards. Building blocks. It says strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. Wow, this is so beautiful. It says, you have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life, and this is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations that you build upon. Your work, relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? You are making the changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. You've got the power to build a strong foundation, or to re-outline, go over and re-outline or reaffirm or validate the morals, values, character that your life is built on, the character that you what you stand on. Do you stand on your own values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs? And in the way that you express yourself from that foundation, what are you bringing into your life as a result? And if you're not really sure about what these things are for you, then a good way to get some sort of insight or idea is to look at the things that you are manifesting in your life, right? And do you feel like they are what you ultimately want? Are they truly, if you're honest with yourself, are they in alignment with the person that you want to be and the life that you want to live? And if not, then is there something that does need to be radically transformed, you know? Okay, co-create in reverse. So that's going to be the protection message for this card. So in the upright, this card talks about creativity, art, inspiration, fruition, and manifestation. Came out in reverse. So the protection message says, you are trying too hard to create all that you desire without the nurturing vital force of spirit. Perhaps you're in a creative slump, suffering writer's block, facing a monumental task, but unable to decide your first step, so you just avoid doing anything. Does the word overwhelmed apply to you right now? Why do you think it all has to come down to you? Inspiration means the drawing in of divine guidance. You must tap into spirit, not simply yourself. Ask spirit for inspiration. Two minds are greater than one, so co-create with your divine partner. Reclaim your partnership with spirit. Inspiration will flow through you as soon as you get out of your own way. There's the people that are going to be getting in their own way, because this is also not an energy you can control, right? You can choose how you respond to it. But this transformation is happening. It's happening. So do you want to fight it and fight yourself and get in your own way? And honestly, I can't sugarcoat it. You will not manifest or create abundance in your life this way, you know? Because you don't really have a leg to stand on with that. Yeah, it's like there's very much two different options here. And don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that you're never going to manifest anything ever again, but you will go through a phase where your life feels constricted, right? Like there's expansion, which happens when we are receptive, when we are accepting what is, then things can flow in and out of us, right? Because we are in like this flow state where we're not judging what comes up, or we're really trying to just be present with it and accept it and just integrate it. Let it teach us, let it move us, let it propel us forwards in a positive direction, right? But then there is like the denial of that, which is going to constrict. A word to type in the chat. A word. What is the word that you guys should type in the chat if you like really feel what I'm saying? You guys come up with a good one and I will use it from this point forwards. I will carry it forwards with me. A warning. The card may be a warning. Don't try to create your own story as a way to lie to yourself, because you can't exist in your own constructed reality for too long. That is true. It definitely will fall down around you. It's like Pluto's very much about truth, right? There is no hiding from the eye of Pluto. There is no running and escaping. It's like the hard truth that is the loving truth at the same time. Enigma. What does that say? Pluto be real. My Instagram is Pluto Hazy. We're Pluto Hazy, but we're still getting by, guys. Story of my life. Let me clarify a little bit. I think that I might pull a Celtic cross and just see outside of the messages that Pluto has for us, like what the overall vibe is and if any other storyline wants to come through. And this may not apply to all of you guys, but if it does apply to you, what is my sun, moon, rising? I'm a Pisces sun, Gemini moon, Scorpio rising in tropical. And in sidereal or Vedic, I'm an Aquarius sun, Taurus moon, and Libra rising. Yeah. I have a lot of Scorpio energy and Pisces energy in my tropical chart. I'm a Pisces sun and north node, and my moon and my Chiron are in my 8th house, and I also have Pluto in Scorpio conjunct my Scorpio rising, and my sun is in the 4th house, so I have a lot of water in my tropical chart. I have a lot of water. So it's fun times. Okay. The best readers seem to be Pisces. I feel like we just channel naturally all the time. Venus be real, tatted down your right tricep. Okay. Yeah, so let's pull one more card for one more message from Pluto. You're a double Pisces. That's amazing. I love my fellow fishy fam. My fish. I got so much love for my fellow water signs. I have so much love for every sign, but I really resonate and relate with my water sign family. Okay, last sign from Pluto. I don't want to pull a rune. My runes are still packed, I think. I don't know where they are. Wow. I think you're settled on Pluto. True offering. Trust. Pluto is just like, I take no prisoners. Do you want the truth? You can't handle the truth. That's Pluto. This is what came up for the final message from Pluto. The truest offering takes what can be an unbearable cross and returns it to love. And it says, trust. Allow me, divine, to give you my deepest longings, trusting you to know exactly how to handle them. So this really is about surrender, right? It's about trusting in the overall process of transformation, trusting that you're not the victim, you're not being punished. This isn't bad karma. This is a loving push from Pluto to not only make you better, but to make us better as humanity, as the collective, right? Because only when we look at the darkness can we bring more light to the darkness. And only when we bring light to the darkness can we ascend, right? So the people who choose to bravely take their consciousness and sit in those dark spaces, know that you are not only transforming yourself, but you're contributing to the transformation of humanity. Pluto in Aquarius. You're not doing it just for you. And that's really fucking powerful. Pluto is the planet of power. But yeah, you hold so much power within you, and love holds so much power that when you choose to hold that, there's really nothing that can defeat you. All right. Let's see if there's a message that wants to, because I feel like there is another message that wants to come out. I don't know if it will resonate with everybody, this Celtic cross, but we'll see what other messages want to come out just about the surrounding time period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. Okay. Okay. Let's pull a little Celtic cross here and see what's going on. So you can take what applies to you from this message, and if it doesn't, then that's okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what's going on. But yeah, if you guys do want to chat, you can also just, if you have any like questions, or if anything has just been, absolutely on your mind that you must know my opinion on, or you want to know something about my placements, my chart, my personal life or experience, or my spiritual journey, really anything. Like I said, I'm pretty much, especially at this point in my life, quite an open book. So feel free to ask if you have anything that you want to bring to the conversation, and I will do my best. Okay. Spirit, what messages are important at this time for the collective? And I'll especially tune into the connection to us, right? The people that are in the chat right now, as well as people who will see this reading after the live and need some assistance or guidance. We'll focus on that smaller collective, not like the overall collective. So hopefully these messages resonate. How did we get our Rottweiler? We bought him from a breeder. Have you had any signs or signals about December 7th? I have not. I very rarely get like messages about specific dates because energy is so fluid and constantly in flux and based so much on like human free will that I have a difficult time like bringing that much specificity to it, I guess. But some people do get messages for specific dates, and I'm not saying that they're wrong or anything. It's just for me personally, I usually don't. Have you gotten any signs or signals about December 7th? What are my psychic powers? Well, they are constantly revealing themselves to me. But in terms of like the clairs, the gifs, my two most prominent psychic gifts are claircognizance, which is clear knowing, and clairsentience, which is clear feeling. So essentially that is clear knowing kind of comes through for me anyways, and I'm sure these gifts, no gift, even if it's the same gift, like even if we both have the same gift, right, it will not manifest the same in two people, because everyone is meant to kind of bring forth their gifts in different ways, right? That's why it's like an intuitive art or gift. Truth wave, I thought they were already disclosing. Isn't there a bunch of whistleblowers talking about how we're not alone in the universe right now? I have energetic intuition. Well, I can read energy. Yeah. Like I see energy when I tap into it, but claircognizance, clear knowing, is basically like you just know things and you don't know how you know them, but you have this awareness that it's not like a truth or knowledge that's coming from you, It's like this is something that was placed in me that resonates undeniably as truth. And I just know. So a lot of the time when I'm channeling, the reason that I can say things with like a sense of assuredness and authority, that's not coming from me as a human, right? that is, oh, them landing on White House lawn type of oh, you mean like them really coming down and disclosing themselves, not us disclosing our knowledge of them. Ooh. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm ready to leave this place. But yeah, so that's claircognizance. It's often just like, it's a knowing, and you feel that it is, because it's a different knowing than like a truth that I came to on my own again. And you can also tell that it's different because sometimes like you won't have the knowledge, and then all of a sudden it will just be there, right? And it's like, so it's kind of like when people say I got a download, that's usually me like integrating more claircognizance. And then clairsentience is essentially like feeling the energy that I'm connecting to consciously, or unconsciously, which was a terrible time of my life because I didn't realize sometimes that energies that I was feeling super intensely weren't even mine. And sometimes this still happens because sometimes I take other people's energies in. Like sometimes, for instance, someone I love will be hurting and I will be like, I sincerely wish that I could take that from them, you know? Spirit's like, you can. And then like I all of a sudden am feeling everything that they're feeling and transmuting energy like for them, you know? Yes, I unintentionally pick up information from people all the time. The thing is, I can't not see people. Like I can't not, it would be, I'd have to like stab my own, like, you know how you'd have to poke your own eyes out to be blind? I would have to like stab my own third eye to not be able to have the sight that I have. I've always had it. You know what I mean? So it's not like when I meet people or get involved with them, I'm not trying to like into the deepest parts of them. It's just like, I can see you though. You know, I just can. And not only can I see, but I can feel you. So I know when I tap into energies, this is why sometimes I get emotional when I'm channeling, because the energy that I'm in is emotional and I'm like feeling it like the person or the collective who's feeling it. So I can kind of have personal healthy boundaries when I'm consciously aware that I am being influenced by another energy or that I am channeling another energy. But you definitely have to be very like aware of your own energy, right? I answered your question. Advanced humans that we've been working with for a long time. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Kazam, you are clairaudient. I hear ringing in my ears sometimes as well, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, I'm also clairaudient. I channel music a lot. I usually don't channel, like if I channel a word, it will be more like the word claircognizantly like comes up. It's not like I don't usually hear words or statements, but I will hear like songs, music, very, very frequently that happens. I don't know. I think my intuitive gifts are kind of unlimited. It's just like Pisces Sun, Pisces North Node. You know what I mean? Moon and Chiron in the 8th house. Scorpio rising. Scorpio Pluto. Like, I'm just a psychic ass bitch. It's kind of like when you carry that energy within you, though, whatever direction you choose to point your gifts, you can grow your gifts. And we can all do this because we're all intuitive by nature. So you are never limited by what you perceive your intuitive gifts to be. You can always strengthen or tap into or like build new ones or build on what you already have. And you should, if you're comfortable doing that. It's fun. Your other app crashed and wouldn't uncrash. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Super Saiyan. Okay. Let's see. 11 cards for a Celtic cross. What is that? Oh, yeah. I feel like we are collectively moving into a time where more of us are going to be in tune with our intuitive gifts as well, and our psychic gifts, because we're all psychic. Even the people that think that I'm not empathic, I'm not intuitive, you are. We innately are. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, the past is coming to the forefront right now, but it's to be, again, it's to add contrast and context, right? It's like some people, when the past comes up, they get very like, why are you bringing up the past? Or why does the past keep coming? And then they repress it. And because they think that that's the way to get past it. But really what you're doing when you repress an energy is you're carrying it with you, because you're not allowing it to move through you and be transformed. And since energy is never created or destroyed, where do you think that's going when you repress it inside of you? It's not going anywhere, right? Which is the reason that you will most likely continue to be triggered by any mention or sense of the past in your life. It's because it's still very much alive and well within you. But you may not realize that you're causing that to be your reality, right? There is no way out but through, ultimately. But the past is coming up so that we can, right, if the focus is like being in the now and being in the present in order to create the future that we truly desire and are more aligned with than where we have been in the past, then it's like looking at the past can give us hints about where we want to shift, where we want to evolve, where we weren't fulfilled, where our own action did not serve us, and how we can do better. But there's a level of humility that's needed there, because you have to be willing to look at yourself, right? Okay, let's see. Yeah, there's something very empowering about realignment. Like, it's always really uncomfortable for like a little period when everything is like changing at once and you feel like you're going fucking insane. But then after things kind of clear and stabilize, it's super empowering. Okay. The tower. Oh my god. The violence of this. Pluto is just like, oh gosh. Oh yeah. Old structures are literally being demolished to the freaking ground right now. And it's like, there's nowhere to hide. Oh my word. Okay. It's not a bad thing, but yeah, it's people are going to be triggered. The thing is also, being triggered is not a bad thing because it draws awareness to, again, it's still telling you something about yourself that's really useful, right? Like, a trigger will show you where you're still holding on to pain or a woundedness that has power over you, because anytime you're triggered, that's something that has power over you. So, yeah. Knight of Cups in reverse. Ugh, okay. There's Plutonian energy with Judgment. Oh my word. A great interactor. Your second house, Cap Sun. Oh. Nice. I love me some Capricorn energy. I'm a Cap Mars and Stellium. Mars, Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. Okay. Oh, look at how much beauty and love is being beckoned into our life. The Page of Cups and the Lovers. Let me tell you right now, if you are a lover, now is your time. This is your fucking time. Okay? It's your time to claim claim the label of being a lover. Be shamelessly and unapologetically in that energy, and be in it even if it triggers the people around you, even if it makes yourself and others uncomfortable, because it's needed and it's being amplified at this time. But what it's really trying to do is purify and heal this beautiful, kind of innocent love that's within you, that's just so pure. Like the Lovers and the Page of Cups is like divine and childlike love, the kind of love that could never hurt you, would never hurt you, would never. And it's not that love, it doesn't have challenges, but this is very divine and innocent. This is like power counterpart energy. So a lot of us could be aligning with people that we are meant to work with on our journey forwards, whether that is a romantic partner, whether that is a new community, whether that is friendships, with people that you really resonate with in a way that you haven't had that kind of support around you. Hi, I'm just streaming, but no. Yeah, dinner. So, yeah. Sorry for yelling. Had to answer that. But my boo and I just got to where the wild emotions are over. Took a break and ended up staying connected. I started falling in love today. Aw. The opposite happened for me, but I'm so happy that you experienced it that way. But yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's clarify with some tarot. Believers and Lovers. Kurt Vile, man, that's someone that I haven't heard mentioned in a while. What's that song? Pretty Pimpin'. I like that song. Is that what it's called? Something Pimpin'. I think it's called Pretty Pimpin'. But honestly, the love that you call into your life, or the love that you are able to build on and sustain in this time, is going to be incredibly transformative in ways that you could literally never ever never expect. It's going to be a love that shakes your very soul, but in the best way possible. Okay, let me just close this door because I'm freezing my tits off. She just opened the outside door and now I'm cold. Sweetie. Hey, sweetie. I brought my stinky baby. Brought her. She doesn't want to be here. Stinky Luna. Stinky Luna face. Your breath smells so bad. I still love you though. That's Luna's little... Hello. She's not actually that big. She's just extremely hairy. Can your cat do tricks? No. No. She does not do tricks. But I adopted her when she was already like pretty old. So I don't know if you can teach an old cat new tricks, but she's a Norwegian forest cat. They are known as like the dogs of the cat world, and they're very, very intelligent. In her case, she is smart enough to know that she controls me. She's like, I can get treats without doing anything for them. You know what I mean? But yeah, when she's shaved, it's amazing. She's like a third of the size that she looks like now. It's hilarious. I got her shaved because she had mats, and I'm gonna probably need to do that again soon because she has some more mats. You saw a clip of America's Got Talent. 2 ladies trained a bunch of cats to climb ropes and jump into hoops. Luna would never be one of those cats. You could not catch her lifting a paw. Let me tell you. But I love that for those high achieving cats. Their paws are built for snow, yeah. Okay, let me pull some clarifiers here. Actually, no. You know what we're going to do? We're going to clarify all with Big Mama. Big Mama, the deck that I created. Do my dog and cat get along? You knew I was taken. Slide in my inbox. Yes. Yeah, I did. I didn't actually know even how old she was when I adopted her because the person before me had adopted her, but then like didn't want to keep her, like couldn't like essentially take care of her. So I adopted her. But yeah. Transparent sphere. It's like an astronaut's helmet for drying the cats. Oh my gosh. That sounds intense. My goodness. A playlist for reading. My dog and cat, you know, yes and no. They don't fight, but Django just really wants to play with Luna like all the time, but he is like a 4-year-old Rottweiler and he's freaking huge, you know, and he gets really excited too. So he had to like really learn how to not just like rush at her because she would obviously get terrified and run away. He's learned to like contain himself, but it's hilarious because when she walks by, and she knows what she's doing, but she really likes like sort of teasing him and like it's like a rush, you know. She's like, I feel the danger, but she basically like will walk by his dog bed and like he won't move a muscle, just his eyes will like follow her, but then his tail will be like and go crazy. Oh my gosh. How much does he weigh? I don't know. I think he weighs about 145 pounds. The last time I think, but I'm not sure if he's gotten heavier since then. I don't know. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this Celtic cross and see if there are some messages for us in here. So, yeah, I know, right? She like saunters beyond. He's not fat. He just saw the vet and the vet was like, I don't know if it was 145. Does that make sense? Essentially, the vet was like, he is your normal Rottweiler weight. Rottweilers, they have, because of their joints, although they have a lot of energy, they can have a harder time like working off extra fat. So the majority of them will have like a little, they'll be slightly chonks, you know? It's like quite normal for Rottweilers, but yeah, no, he's not unhealthy. He's good. We just got him checked like 2 weeks ago. A favorite incense, candle, or oil right now? I've been using, well, I always love dragon's blood incense, which I always use if I want to be kind of like empowered. I don't know. I usually add my own stuff to candles and things like that. I would say that and jasmine are two of like my favorite ones right now for the scents, but Okay. Let's take a look-sees at this spread and see what's going on. Wait, let me grab my notebook. You have a big boy that's 105 pounds. What kind of dog is yours? Let's see. Okay. Okay. Surrender. Anything that is like peace inducing. So yeah, maybe sandalwood, maybe lavender. Although something that would support like transformation energy could also help you sort of like smooth the journey. But really, like tools in themselves are kind of empty of power, but it's the intention that we set on them as we use the tool that gives them the power that they hold, right? So certain things have natural strengths and weaknesses, but we can still use them for our own, like how we essentially decide to set the intention. So you could really choose any scent that you intend to have a specific purpose, if that makes sense, because your free will and the way that you project that into the world around you is always going to be the strongest like factor in things, if that makes sense. He has some pit bull in him. Aww. Black German Shepherd and a pit lab mix stray. Oh, I bet he's so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the overall present energy that's coming up is the Six of Cups, which is a card of the past. I love this Six of Cups specifically because she's surrounded by these lotus flowers, and as she pulls this lotus flower up, there's this version of her that is coming up below it. So it's not really like the revisiting of the past in a way that is like, I don't want to look back at how triggering that was, but it's more like when you get to that point where you can hold enough space for yourself to look at the past and say, wow, look how far I've come. Like, look where I used to be. Look at all the mud that I had to climb up through to get to where I am. It's kind of what I was saying before about like, do you know the violence that it took to become this gentle, right? It's not always, when we revisit the past, it doesn't always need to be through a lens of regret, right? Or pain. In fact, it shouldn't be, because then you're just keeping that alive and carrying it forwards. When you start to be able to look at the past from a different perspective, one that is more empowering, or one that looks at like, what did I gain from that? How far have I come since then that is more along the lines of true empowerment. And you can actually shift and collapse your timelines and make like incredible leaps forwards when you're willing and able to look at the past from that perspective. So let's clarify that Six of Cups as the overall present energy. There is so much to unlearn. Wow. So again, it's at looking at the past and being like, what didn't work? But not focusing and getting stuck on that and spiraling into a space of shame and bullying yourself. But again, it's more seeing it from the perspective of, look at how far I've come, but also like, what did the past teach me, or what did I maybe internalize from my past experiences that is not supporting my foundation moving forwards, or is something shaky that I actually can't build on? Because just as much as like learning and integration and enlightenment is part of the process of elevation and ascension, right? And personal growth, so is destruction and unlearning. Destruction is also a very powerful form of creation, and that is so Plutonian. Like, that's so Plutonian, right? It's like death and rebirth as a form of transformation. Death is the unlearning or the crumbling or the release, but it's always so something better can be born. You thought of a perspective recently. You think of how your parents raised you in one household, but it's like you grew up without parents. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. That's another thing, though, that could be very, like, our childhood wounds could be coming up right now. And that could be something that maybe created a perspective in our life that we're ready to release ourselves from, that has actually been more destabilizing, or it's brought more scarcity and lack and what is not authentic into our lives. Maybe like, what did your relationship with your parents teach you about how to love, how to show up in relationships, how to express yourself? Because we all have that, right? And pretty much with every single person, your attachment style, or the way that you approach relationships in love, and even your relationship with yourself, it often has notes of your relationship with your parents in it. That's usually where the origin is of the childhood wound, right? Yeah, your relationship's not healing, so it's like you never had parents. Yeah. I feel you, Kazam. I mean, I don't have a relationship with my dad really anymore, even though he is still alive as well, and I had to basically mourn him as if he is dead, and I understand how painful that can be, so I genuinely do feel for you. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. I also do feel, though, like in a big way, and this is not to minimize your experience, but family can be very much about like who shows up for us as family, so we can create what feels like family to us. I think I've always had like a different perspective on what family is because I'm adopted. So, and I was adopted as like a baby. So I always had this understanding that like family, for me anyways, it doesn't really have anything to do with like who is blood related to you, right? It's the people that show up to be your family. So, but yeah, it's worth pondering because that's how growth and introspection evolves us, or that's how introspection will evolve you, right? So it's a positive thing as long as you're not using it to like carry forth resentment and things that are harming you, right? Okay. So the energy is wanting to dismantle everything from the past that has been integrated that no longer aligns with our most powerful and sovereign selves. So it's coming in to create that transformation. The energy that we are in is the Six of Swords. So we have two sixes here. Right next to each other, the energy and our energy. 6 is a number of creation. So it's interesting that the building blocks and the co-creation card came out before this, because this is really what Pluto is offering. It's like creation through destruction. Things are going to fall apart, and it's ultimately for the purpose of things falling together for the highest and best good of all. But can you withstand the crumbling? Can you move through the crumbling with grace? Do you know what your morals, values, beliefs, standards are, so that you still have solid ground that you're carrying within you, even as the world around you and all of these outdated structures start crumbling, right? Can you tell me more about the Six of Swords? But this is the energy of Mercury in Aquarius, which is a placement that I have, and it's the Six of Swords is about having an open mind that will lead you. It's like being able to change your mind when the current state is not serving you, right? Because the Six of Swords comes out of the Five of Swords. And what's the Five of Swords? It's getting to a place within your head where you're not going anywhere anymore, but in circles. It really is kind of like that bully card. Whether you're in the energy of the Five of Swords alone or with somebody else, no one is winning, no one is gaining anything, no one's growing. There is just manipulation, rumination, confusion, tension, cognitive dissonance, being at odds with yourself. And the Six of Swords is like when you get to the end of yourself. And keep in mind, right, like Aquarius is fixed air. It's not easy for them to always shift their perspective, but yet that is exactly what the Six of Swords represents. So it's about getting to the end of yourself and then having the humility and grace to use that end of yourself as a jumping off point into something more peaceful or abundant. With great character. The character came from trauma, to be honest. Let's see. Swords. I wish I was joking. Yeah, see? This is how we create. This is how we create. And the power is all ours. See? This is energy work. Changing your mind is energy work. Your thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. Your feelings, right? But when you're deconstructing what you believed in the past, when you're brave enough to look at how the past didn't serve you, and you can choose to be like, where did I make mistakes? Where did I fail? But that's not really it, right? It's like everything just was what it was, right? If you can be removed from the past enough to just look at it as sort of an impersonal thing, that it was what it was, it served a purpose, some purpose, right? Whether it was to teach you a lesson, to get you out of a stagnant space, whatever it was, to show you something about yourself or someone else. When you're brave enough to deconstruct, to unlearn, and to change your mind, that is when you move out of that space of self-sabotage, self-defeatism. And that is when you start stepping into your power. And really, the universe responds to that because you're in a space of empowerment and you're working with your own energy, right? You're taking your own mental energy or whatever, and you're shifting the trajectory, which is a form of magic. So that's really powerful. Okay. The 10 of Coins in reverse is the challenge or the lesson. The thing is, right, about that, the process of things falling apart so that things can fall together. The falling apart portion of that, it still feels like something's falling apart. It still feels destabilizing because it is destabilizing the parts of your life that are no longer meant to be part of your foundation, right? So yeah, it's going to feel a little bit intimidating. It's going to feel a little bit rocky, most likely, right? So let's see. Let's clarify that a little bit. See what's going on. Tell me more about the 10 of Coins in reverse. Oh my. Okay. Okay. The other thing about this energy that you want to be very aware of, and it's interesting, we were talking about psychic gifts, right? You have to know what is for you and what is not for you at this time. Because your discernment is going to be necessary to know what parts you can gracefully release from your current structure or foundation, right? And which parts you feel comfortable welcoming in to kind of involve in whatever you are building in your present that aligns more with you, right? There's the potential to throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, I'm transforming everything, and then to throw out something maybe that is meant to be expansive and abundant in your life. 10 of coins in reverse. Is this coming through as sabotage though? Because the thing is, there is a level of chaotic instability that is coming from just the natural transformative process, right? But then there's like another version of instability that is not that, but something that is sabotaging and self-inflicted. You know what I mean? And this says, any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. So you have to have the sight and the groundedness and the discernment to look at something and be like, is this something that is blowing up the violent like transformation that's happening in my life right now? Is it making things better or worse? Is it helping or is it harming? And if it's helping but still feels comfortable, then how can I show up in a new way or like a courageous way to help usher that in a smoother way, right? Thanks for being here, Truth Wave. We appreciate it. Beautiful quote. The loudest drinker on the planet has arrived. This is the name. I have no idea. E.F. Schumacher? This card also came out. So the 10 of coins in reverse with this is kind of interesting, and I'm going to have to clarify further, but now is not a time to deny the things that energetically you know are for you, because there's actually like quite a cost to that. Like there's more on the line than we might realize, right? Let's clarify that further though, because this is pretty specific, right? It's like two people not acknowledging the reality between them in the physical, but then their energy is still very much connected, influencing, pulling. So I need to know more about that. Let's see. Let's clarify a little bit more about that. Tell me more about this energy, this energetic connection. The Hanged Man in reverse. And the 10 of Swords, the Emperor in reverse, the Tower, the Queen of Cups in reverse. Ugh. Okay. Okay. Some of you have energetic connections with people that are choosing the disempowered, difficult path here. They're blatantly choosing fear. Okay, and the reason this is coming up is because there is still an energetic connection, but these are people that are going to choose to blow up the energy and make it worse. They're going to make it more complicated, more violent. Honestly, it's not going to make any sense because it doesn't make sense. But basically, they are going to be overwhelmed by the energy. They're not going to have the ability to see the higher perspective. And with the 10 of Swords and all of this energy, honestly, people could act out. It's like that bully card with the anger, right? People could act out in a way where you see the lack of strength and character that they have. You see them in the Emperor in reverse being like, I'm gonna blow this thing up with no love whatsoever. I'm gonna harden myself and I'm gonna act like it's no big deal. Rest assured that that is a massive load of crap. Like, it's a huge lie, right? Because again, it's their internal state is what they're projecting outwards. So the violence and anger and all of this is really directed at themselves, but they refuse to handle it in a way that is transcendent, right? Yeah, it's people dealing with the same trigger but having very different responses to it. But I think that the reason why Spirit wants you to know about this is because some of you will be picking up on the really like turbulent energies of these people that you're connected to. And it's important to know that this is their path, not yours, okay? And it's only their path because they're choosing it actively. They could choose something else if they want to, right? So be careful not to take too much of that in. Is there anything else you want to say about that, though? Whoa. The Six of Pentacles. Don't be on the fence about what you're going to give your energy to at this time. You know what is aligned with you and what's on your path to more abundance, right? If something is undecided, then it doesn't have the same clarity and conviction of truth that you do, right? If something is staying stuck or pushing back on the transformation rather than leaning into it, and you are moving forwards and evolving and expanding and becoming more abundant while they are getting themselves more stuck and frustrated, then that might not be someone that you want to attach yourself to right now, because it's kind of going to be like boarding the Titanic. It's like the inevitable. It's like that bitch is going down, unfortunately. But, and it's not to say that they can't find, it's not to say that's the end, right? But they're choosing like a painful path for themselves. As I said earlier, they're choosing to kind of sever themselves off from their truth and the reality of the experience around them. That wasn't sent as like an enemy or an op or something that was meant to hurt them. It was sent as something that is meant to help resurrect them, but they're not choosing that. They're not choosing to use it that way, right? So just be really cognizant of what you're giving. You hate to see people get that way. Yeah, it hurts my heart when people do that, because it's like you're watching them hurt themselves. Yeah. They're shutting down their heart and shutting out love. And you know why that is? It's because, yeah, the King of Cups in reverse, the Five of Swords that comes before the Six of Swords, right? They're choosing to stay in this space where they're not connected to their heart, because their heart in this period of turbulence, like what they feel and being connected to themselves, feels either overwhelming or they feel out of control. And we all do, right? In this transformation, that's what the surrender thing is about, and trusting yourself. But if you're choosing a path of peace, then you can't be connected to these people at this time in any sort of like serious way where their energy has the power to influence you. Because again, they're choosing to learn the lessons the hard way, and attaching to them is kind of attaching yourself then by extension to almost like their destiny in a way, their karma. If you're attaching yourself to someone who's walking down a different path than you, then a part of you is getting dragged down that path as well, right? So just, this is the challenge or the lesson. I think it has to do with strong boundaries and strong discernment. Okay, in the recent past was the Fool in reverse. So this is Uranus energy. This is essentially not taking like a leap out into a transformative new beginning. Let's clarify that. So this was in the recent past. Some of us may have felt a little bit stuck, or like we tried to leap into something that we were denied or we were blocked. Or maybe we tried to leap out into something that ended up feeling more disempowering than good. Tell me about the Fool in reverse. But there's something that didn't flourish, like a new beginning that didn't flourish in the recent past here. Tell me more about that. What did I literally say earlier? Word for word. Destruction is a form of creation. Came out in the reverse though. So in the past, a lot of us were fighting this deconstruction. A lot of us were feeling the pressure of something getting ready to crumble. But I feel like in the recent past, more of us were trying to like hold on to what is, to stabilize the current foundation, maybe not realizing that it was being put through this destructive state as a gift, not as like a punishment, right? But yeah, there is the inability to be all in and to truly connect to wow. Okay, look at this card that's at the bottom of the deck too. This quote says, lean into the sharp points and fully experience them. The essence of bravery is being without self-deception. That's actually humility. It's just always being honest with yourself where you're at. And it says wisdom is inherent in understanding emotions. So there's something that emotionally felt turbulent in the past, and for that reason, a lot of us may have misread it as being something that was destabilizing, but in a negative way, right? It's like maybe we didn't realize that this was coming to show us something because it did feel sharp. It did feel like it was forcing us to be brave and look at parts of ourselves that we're not comfortable looking at, right? So there's kind of a misunderstanding and a lack of like trust fall in the recent past is what I'm seeing. In the near future, however, it's no longer your choice, because now the Tower is coming in to kick yo ass, you know? And the Tower is what comes in when the universe is like, send in the big guns, you know? It's Mars energy. And it comes in to shatter our ego, shatter our illusions, break down violently the things that are in place and in play in our life that don't resonate with our highest and best good. If it isn't for you and you're not strong enough to let it go, it will be taken from you. And again, it's not punishment, it's actually a gift. So if something is taken from you at this time, when you And it feels like anything that's taken from you at this time is not truly a loss. I don't know how else to say it. If it's being taken, mourn it, honor the loss, honor it leaving your life, but know that nothing is actually being lost. Okay, what's the Tower in the near future? This is coming in, yeah. Prepare to have your world rocked if it hasn't already been. And the Tower is only something to fear if you're not being honest with yourself, right? And the Tower. Tell me about the Tower in the near future. Okay. Okay. For a lot of you in the near future, there's going to be clarity surrounding a really toxic person or connection in your life that you're going to be challenged, I feel like, to see the reality of this and to let it fall away. It's almost like you're going to be validated. So if there was still a question in your mind surrounding like the character of someone, they're going to show you their true character. And it is, again, it might sting for a second, but it is a gift, because once you see what you can never unsee, you can release that thing with grace, knowing that like, okay, my feelings for that thing may have been real. My experience, I may have tried to hold on to that experience, but that's before I saw what it really was and how bad it is for me. You know what I mean? But essentially, this is like going to be the heart and the head getting on the same page. And the page that they're on is not necessarily an impressed one, you know? It also came out with this card. So some of us, there's going to be like a harsh reality that something was more of a trauma bond, or something was more toxic or abusive or misaligned, maybe. And the reason this is becoming more obvious to us is to show us, again, to clarify what is in alignment with us as we redefine ourselves through this transformation. Our way forward is just becoming clearer and clearer and clearer, right? But so as a result of that, as you become more clear, the people that are becoming more convoluted, it's going to become more obvious to you if you're seeing clearly, right? And I feel like they're not going to have any power over you though, because they are moving out of their power and you are moving more into your power, right? So you should be able to handle this with confidence and with grace and with discernment. Let's clarify that a little bit more though. Tell me more about the Tower in the near future. But this might strike you. And this could be someone asserting themselves in like a really unattractive way. The Two of Swords and the Two of Cups. If you are on the fence about whether someone is the devil or like your future husband, prepare to know very clearly, okay? Or your future person. The Chariot in reverse, the Ten of Cups in reverse, the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Swords in reverse, the Eight of Swords in reverse. Here's the thing. Once you see the truth, you are going to be liberated from any related anxiety or fear that you had, because that comes from like ruminating over something that you're still questioning or unsure of, right? Once you have the answer, you no longer have to think about this situation or person ever again if you don't want to, right? You will literally be released from it. The Chariot and the Ten of Cups, both in reverse with the Ace of Swords. If it's not moving forwards from a constructive, balanced, convicted emotional place, like from the heart, this is Cancerian energy, if it's not truly moving towards emotional fulfillment and stability, you are going to see the truth of that. It will only hurt so much as you see it in terms of being something painful, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can look at it as the loss of an opportunity and the loss of love and the loss of like your person, right? But in reality, this person, if this is what's being shown to you, then they were never your person, right? So no, you create whether it's a painful event or not. Nothing has power over you. No event has power over you. So it's always your response to what comes up that is going to create the reality surrounding it, right? So essentially it will be as painful as you make it in your own mind. So make sure, I would say, to have a healthy like lens or frame that you're looking at this from. Maybe healthy detachment, maybe more of an objectivity. Maybe you want to look at it from a space of empathizing with someone, but also having really healthy boundaries, and not getting sucked into the confusion and the chaos that is brought towards you, because essentially it's like, as people choose to move in the direction of empowerment, people that choose the less empowering path, right, they're going to be more and more triggered by the success and the positive transformation of people around them. They're just going to be overall triggered until they decide to also take this opportunity to transform. So it's like, however hard they make that process for themselves, or however long they stretch it out, that's their choice. That's all of our choice, right? Hi, Luna. You back? Okay, she's crazy. Is there anything else that we need to know about this? You're going to know, though. I can't state how clear this is going to be. Like, it's going to be the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Two of Cups in reverse. No. If it's not meant for you, there's not going to be a single question left in your mind, you know? If people are choosing like weakness and ignorance, then that's going to be very clear. And I feel like it's going to be enough that if like you were decided in your mind, for instance, that you should let go of something, but your heart or your emotions were still involved, this is going to be enough truth to put them on the same page. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. It's happening to bring more clarity and understanding in for you so that you can purge. But yeah, some people from the past might be coming back in the near future or resurfacing, and just know that that is happening for you to release things that are holding you back, okay? So try to trust that process, but also like see when someone shows you who they are, believe them, okay? Believe them. Even if you know that someone has the potential to be a certain version of themselves, it literally does not matter at all if that person is actively choosing not to be the best version of themselves, but is choosing to be the worst version of themselves. Then believe what they're showing you. And that doesn't mean you have to project onto them and be like, you're a terrible person and you always will be and you always were, because it's not that black and white. Again, every moment we can choose something different. They could wake up tomorrow and choose to be sovereign and honest with themselves and choose the easier path and grow. But you have no control over that, right? So the only control you have is by discerning and accepting who they show you they are, and then acting accordingly to how aligned with you that is. Okay. In the above, so this placement represents like your primary goal, aspiration, or what you perceive as the best possible outcome in the situation. And it's the Hierophant in reverse. It's this energy. It really is. The Hierophant in reverse, it's Taurus energy. It's literally the deconstruction of old, outdated beliefs, values, foundations, but it's pretty deep. Like the Hierophant is like the knowledge and the morals and values and belief systems that we build our life on that give our life security and structure. So again, Pluto energy is saying this is the ultimate goal, though. This is the best case scenario, is that the things that don't serve you are going to be shaken away and stripped away. That's the best case scenario, because nobody wants to live in a state of ignorance, right? There's nothing less attractive than that. There's nothing less fulfilling than that. So tell me more about the Hierophant in reverse. Yeah. Things that again, it's going to become super clear to you what is meant for you and what is not. And this is probably going to happen by like a wedge being put between you and the things that are not for you, so that it becomes almost impossible to ignore what is not meant to keep standing in your life right now. The things that are falling away are not losses. That is divinely guided. That is the Tower coming in and saying, let me take this nonsense out of your life. And again, it's nothing against these situations or people, but you cannot move forwards in an empowered and aligned way while clinging to things that fly in the face of that. Do you know what I mean? You cannot drag the baggage of something that is not aligned with you on your path of transformation. It's just the two can't simultaneously exist. So there's going to be a certain level of blunt truth, and some of you will feel like you revoke your commitment to certain things. There's going to be some things too that some of you are surprised at your strength and resilience to see them for what they are and to let go with grace. And it's going to be because you have an answer, right? You have a clear answer that is unavoidable, and you are more committed to the truth and to transformation than you are to perpetuating comfortable lies, right? Which is amazing. That's beautiful. That takes so much courage and strength. And if you are there, if you're in this conscious, present energy of deconstructing within the destruction, you have no idea how fucking powerful you are. And there will be beautiful and abundant things that are aligned with you that come in as a result of that action being taken. So don't stop, okay? Don't stop, even if it is overwhelming or a little bit painful. Trust me, the alternative is far worse. Okay, you're doing great, honey. All right, in the below this represents like your subconscious or underlying feelings and trends. And we get the Page of Wands. See, there's this hopeful part of us that wants to believe. And the Page of Wands also doesn't shy away from an adventure. Like, they're going to be the first one in line for that big ass roller coaster at the park, right? Wow. Yeah. Okay, this is the part of us that knows that we are infinite and we are like the universe in human form. Because look at the cards that came out. Like this. It's like literally there could be an atomic bomb that goes off, this destruction, but then the energy that we are hopefully bringing to it is like we know that we can build love on the ashes of whatever falls apart, right? We can erect love and more beauty in our life where what was stripped away was. And it's like when you go through and you till ground, or you go through and you like weed out a garden, right? Yes, you're removing things, but you're just removing dead things that are no longer contributing beauty and value to that atmosphere or environment. And what you're doing is creating space for beautiful things to grow. So again, nothing is lost. Okay, even if it's uncomfortable, even if there's like an empty space after like things are pulled out by the root, trust your own ability and hopeful energy that that space will be filled by more beautiful things that are more in alignment with you. Okay, so overall advice is the 7 of coins. You're a Marine veteran. The soldiers and pink dandelion. This teaches us that our beauty and love is not dependent on anyone. Yeah, exactly. So the 7 of coins is the overall advice. Okay. So this is about investment. It's about knowing what you're trying to build and then staying focused on that and giving your energetic currency only to the things that you want to grow, right? Okay. Okay. So for some of you, there's someone that is manipulating or using mixed messages. They're like, I want to be connected to you intimately, but I don't actually want to be vulnerable and intimate with you, in which case you should send them along on their way, right? Because is that a healthy investment then? Well, this would only be a healthy investment if you only want sex without any connection, for instance, right? But this is just one example of like a myriad of ways that this could manifest. I feel like there's going to be mixed messages where, well, let's get a little bit more from that. High five. 16 paranoia-filled days later. Oh my. Some of these people they push you away violently. They take a break from you. They struggle because, again, they're running from themselves, not you. So they're filled with like these heavier emotions or whatever they're facing during that time. And that is what drives them back towards you, right? It's not really like... Know what is coming towards you for the right reasons, and know what is coming towards you to honor you, and know what is not, okay? Yeah, you're the Empress. You're the freaking Empress, okay? So just remember that. Anything else about this? That's very specific advice. The 2 of Wands in reverse, Judgment. The 5 of Pentacles. This is people that are going to realize that they made a mistake, like, and they're going to gain emotional clarity, but like too late. They're gonna see it when they're in the depths of their own despair that they put themselves in. And the people around them who chose to be empowered and to embrace sovereignty are excelling and expanding, right? And again, this isn't like one group is better. It's like there is literally action and reaction. There is choice, and then there is the implications of that choice, right? And it's like, if you make this choice, ... It's like choice, there's consequences to actions, right? That's just like, that is the law of karma. So essentially, when these things return to you and they're not aligned, they're not just, they're not fair, they're not part of, see, it's like they want to take everything and give nothing. They want the whole world, but they have nothing to offer. So I feel like that would really be an opportunity for you to release with some finality and gain some closure for yourself. The Tower moment is you don't feel the same by the time they come back. You see the misalignment has already gone too far. Yeah, that could very much be it. Because again, people are showing you with how they choose to use, like, this is very powerful manifesting energy that we're in, right? What's up, quinoa? How are you? That's how all your relationships were. You always have to forgive someone for something, but this time that hasn't happened. That's amazing. It's always great when people like pleasantly surprise you instead of like, you know, what's up, Daniel? How was your dirty chai? Yes, so it's essentially people who couldn't decide, then violently chose the path of running away from. It's just that it's going to be like, for those people that choose that path, there will be a day that comes where it's like, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, you know, and it's like, I built my own hell and I put myself here. But then hopefully that will be enough to like motivate them to shift into maybe more of a positive, transformative energy. I'm not sure. But either way, just remember, it's not your circus, not your monkeys, and do not lower your standards because you will be disappointed. I feel like it's going to be very obvious, though, what is a good investment by this point and what is bringing like nothing to the table. Is there anything else that you want to say about the advice? No, that's it. The Emperor in reverse, the Hermit. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'd rather be single than be fucking with you. You know, it's really giving that vibe. If it's the Emperor in reverse, I just puked in my mouth a little bit. You know, it's just, you're not going to want it. I feel like you're not going to want it because you're going to be too empowered by this point. And again, it's not even anything against them, but it's like when something really does not align, resonate, or agree with you. Think about like if you put something in your body that does not agree with you, right? What's going to happen? It's going to come up or out or, you know, one way or another. It's going to be almost like, you're almost going to be like repulsed by it. Yeah, it's going to be like a strong negative reaction, and you're going to see very much, and I feel like you're just going to be like, no, you know what I mean? But you're very much, because you will be so in your power by this point that like anyone that is not, anyone that's trying to control, manipulate, whatever, it's going to be super obvious to you. So just do the right thing when that comes towards you, because again, there is a lot on the line if you attach yourself to these energies that are choosing a path of constriction and lack. Okay? Because we are headed in a transformative direction towards abundance. You get the repulsed and queasy feeling in your stomach. Yeah, I get bad feelings as well. But these feelings are going to save you from pain. 3 of Swords in reverse, okay? So don't play games. And if people do come towards you and they want to, they are trying to draw you back in through manipulative tactics or playing games, trying to get in your head, that's going to backfire on them, but don't engage, okay? Try really hard not to engage. Because like I said before, there is a lot to lose. Okay, so external influences or people that are connected to you at this time. We got the 8 of Cups in reverse. Okay. So for whoever this message tonight is for, you guys have people in your vicinity that they're not willing to do the work, but they're also not willing to let go. Again, it's people that want to come in and be like, I can offer the D, I can offer sex, and I want you to give me everything in return, but I also am going to offer approximately nothing in response, right? I am not bringing any value, but I am expecting a lot. It's probably going to be an entitled energy, but the thing is, they are not letting go of you either. It's they're not strong enough they're not in their power, so they're not claiming you, but they're also not strong enough to walk away. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Let's clarify this 8 of Cups in reverse. There's a lot of warnings about people coming in the near future that are not going to be aligned with you. So I feel like this is going to be, I don't know. If this reading is for you, then this is an important note to take seriously, I feel like. That could be the energy of a victim. I'm entitled to your love because I'm too broken to be loving, but I expect you to do it for me. Yeah, exactly. We don't fuck with that. These people, just be careful though, because some of them might have kind of silver tongues. Some of them might have a lot of desire for you, but this quote literally says, just because someone desires you does not mean they value you. Desire is the kind of thing that eats you and leaves you starving, the color of low self-esteem. Desire is not enough. That's not what we are accepting at this point in time, right? It's not your responsibility to walk on eggshells around people's triggers that they are not being accountable for. It's not your responsibility to blow desire up into greater potential than it is, when really it's just fool's gold and there's no actual value or worth to it, right? There might be the allure of desire, but it's empty at the end of the day, right? That's what this is kind of saying. But this person, for some of you, they might come back and say, look, I needed to push away. I needed to take some alone time because I needed to do some work on myself so that I can pour more into you. But I feel like you're going to be able to actually sense that it's okay, but what did you come back with to pour into me what do you have to pour into me? Because it's it's going to be all talk, but nothing backing it up, right? I feel like there's more to that. I think there might be a couple more messages to come through about that. Let me just see. Desire for a mommy, a nurse, or an angel. They want to use you. Yeah, exactly. So this could be men with, like, you know, people that still have their childhood woundings, their triggers, their mommy and daddy issues, which we all generally have, but it's also our responsibility to, again, become aware of our wounds and take care of ourselves, right? So that we're not, like, projecting that irresponsibly onto others. The Page of Swords. This person's got a lot to say. They're not emotionally detached from you. They don't intend to move away from you. They might come in even claiming to love you, but the way you're gonna know is if it feels heavy, then it's meant to be released. If it feels heavy, then it's meant to be released. No, Haley, because I don't really want to tap into their toxic energy, honestly. Just if it feels heavy, it's not for you. Like, their intentions are not good, whatever they are, because they themselves are so skewed, right? So it's like, if they want to change, then they'll come towards you and you'll be able to clearly see that they are aligned and healthy. But whatever way they come towards you, you're going to know. Trust me. But there's a new opportunity that's coming to you, but only when you're in this Empress energy. And the reason Spirit keeps bringing this up is that it can't manifest if there's an open cycle with someone that just takes and takes and takes from you. Because honestly, by allowing people like that in your life, you're saying, I'm not worth more than that. That is the low self-esteem, right? So don't allow people to feed on you, essentially, because that's just, it is abuse, you know? And sometimes people are abusive without, sometimes it's their own ignorance and terror of looking at themselves that makes them, like, be so stuck in delusion and projection and violence within themselves that it's like trying to control everything around them is the only way that they actually feel safe. And they can actually be, right, that can be them in a triggered state. And it's okay to have empathy for them because the trigger is coming from a wound, right? But at the same time, you cannot allow someone to abuse you just because they're hurting and they won't do anything about their own hurt, right? Everybody is hurt in life. Everybody has been wounded. It's not an excuse to act like it's not an excuse to be a bad person, honestly, you know? Yeah. So I feel like that is what we need to know about that. But you're going to be clear. You're going to know by the way this person comes in and what they genuinely have to offer. So don't just listen to what people say, like, watch their actions. But I would say even don't get heavily engaging, even in, like, any sort of energetic exchange with someone that comes in from your past if you know right away that the energy feels confusing, heavy, misaligned, entitled, any of those things. You know what I mean? Okay. In the greatest hopes and fears is Judgment in reverse. This is Plutonian energy. A lot of us are still in more of a fearful approach or perspective to this intense transformation. And honestly, I think that that's reasonable because it's really intense energy. But like the hopeful side of this would be like embracing and trusting that energy, trusting that deep part of you, because at the end of the day, it's still a part of you and not something you need to fear. So it's either like leaning into it, or again, what we've been talking about since the beginning, like denying reality, kicking and screaming, trying to manipulate and control and all of that crap, or using it to truly become empowered and liberated. Oof. This card is at the bottom of the deck. Are my standards too high, or can you just not reach them? Spirit. Shots fired. Brah, brah. Okay, what is this? Promise, sustain, romance, forgiveness, and harmony. Yeah, the thing is, right? What's up, Star Lava? This came out with this card too that says the way people treat you is a reflection of them, not you, which is something else that I said earlier, pretty much word for word. I think that this hope or fear is like having the discernment to make the right judgment call, to do the right thing for yourself and honor yourself, to choose the transformation, even though it might feel uncomfortable, even though some of the things it's asking you to surrender hurt, right? Hurt. Like for some of you, you're being asked to surrender something that you promised yourself to, someone that you have been hoping to bring more harmony or romance, or that a situation could be forgiven or mended. But I feel like maybe that's possible for some of you. Again, it's like you're going to know based on how somebody shows up. Because the way that they treat you will show you where they're at with this transformation within themselves, and whether or not you can trust them, whether or not what they're offering is actually of value and sustainable, right? Let's clarify that a little tiny bit. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. I feel so much better, honestly. I was not in the best place earlier because I am going through my version of this, and I am being asked to release things that I thought I really wanted, you know? I thought that I wanted it, but in reality, I think it might have just been more of what has been holding me back and just what I've been used to, not really what is able to honor me and move forwards with me in like a sustainable and liberated way, right? And while that might hurt to admit, I think that the truth is still better. Like a hard truth is still better than a comforting lie, you know? I'm such a Scorpio rising. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Community, love and community. Aw. Tell me about this hope and fear, please. However, I do feel also, right? I do also feel that, okay, so you have to use your discernment. You have to trust what you feel with this, okay? Don't take what I'm about to say and use it to justify running straight towards something that deep down you know is going to obliterate you, okay? Please do not do that. But there is something to be said for the power of love. And the thing is, you can love people from a distance. You can love people just energetically by sending positive intentions towards them, by hoping the best for them. You don't have to love them by letting them back into the deepest confines of your heart and like your intimate space and all of these things. But we do still need to be careful that we're not judging people just because they are not responding to these energies the way that we are, or if they are choosing to focus on being a victim, or being like confused or erratic or kind of like hostile, or whatever is kind of coming out of them. There is the ability that we have to withhold judgment and just understand that everyone is doing the best that they can right now, and we are all exactly where we're meant to be on our path, right? So you can still sustain your promise to be loving and forgiving and harmonious, but that doesn't necessarily translate to offering your love and intimacy directly to someone, right? You can love them just by not judging where they're at, just by holding space for how they are struggling, but you still might not want to like become unified or like deeply enmeshed with or attached to those people if they're not aligned with your energy, right? You can still be there, you can still offer love and be in like kind of a higher vibration and influence the energy in a positive way. But you don't want to take so much of the energy in that you end up being influenced by that energy. Can you clarify this a little more for me? The Six of Swords. Keep moving forwards, okay? Because as you move forwards, okay, keep focused on this forward motion and do not. So if you shift your trajectory from the Five of Swords to the Six, and you are improving the way that you are approaching and seeing life, and that is creating a new reality for you and transforming your reality in a positive way and bringing more peace and balance to you, right? Anything that comes in that would ask you to turn back around and look in the direction that you're coming, you want to be really careful about giving any energy to that or engaging too much with it, because it will throw you off your trajectory. You can't look backwards but move in the opposite direction for too long, right? It's like you can't be in two places at once. The King of Wands and the Lovers. Maybe this will light a fire under some people's asses to step up and be in the energy of love and be in a sovereign, empowered place. But you have to know yourself and your energy well enough and your truth to not get sucked back into things that are not that, right? And people's actions towards you will show you very clearly if they are in this internal state or not. Okay? So just be aware of that. Yeah. Love is a verb. It's not just words. And intimacy is vulnerability and connection. It's not just sex. You know what I mean? So just be aware of these things, okay? Don't sell yourself short. Okay, so lastly, the projected outcome in the near future is the Queen of Swords. There's the discernment that you're looking for that's going to ultimately bring you the peace, right? The Queen of Swords is someone that has been through a lot of shit, but they're removed enough and they're wise enough because they've integrated those experiences, and then now they have clear discernment and they know what lessons they've already learned, and they won't learn again. They won't put themselves back in, right? So, oh, wow. Okay. Again, I just feel like you're going to see so clearly what spirit does not want you to connect yourself to, okay? There's literally... It's like... This card says, I've seen more spine in jellyfish. This card is like, I'm not gonna enmesh my energy with you. And this card literally says, it says here, you a hoe. I mean, some people are just, you're gonna not be able to avoid the cowardice. You're not gonna be able to see past, like, the lack of bravery. Or some people are gonna come in and offer you something so superficial that you're just like, take your hoe shit elsewhere, you know? Like, go and be happy with your hoe shit, but like, I'm not calling on it, you know? Like, my door is not open to you when that is all you're offering. Do you know what I mean? This is such like a freaking ongoing message in this reading. So yeah, and I think it's because a lot of us, we've really put the work in, and we're going to continue to put the work in, and you don't want to unravel that with something that's just gonna deflate you or play games or take you back to the past or cause like unease in your mind where you have painstakingly created peace, right? Tell me more about the Queen of Swords to close this message. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse. A lot of you will feel this in your body. You'll feel uneasy in your body. So listen to that. If you get a headache, if you feel emotionally drained or just energetically drained, if you're really tired around someone. Yeah, if you feel like you're losing weight or you don't feel as strong as you normally are, if you're sleeping and your eating habits and your ability to take care of yourself really well get thrown off balance, all of these are signs that something is not aligned with you, okay? And especially, I really want to say, do not, it's your choice, right? But I want to say that if you engage in like a deep energy exchange with someone, like for instance, being physically intimate with someone that is not in alignment with you, sexual energy is life force energy, right? And it's really powerful right now, but you would essentially be giving that to something that is not helping you, but hurting you. Like, you'd be using your precious power on something that is more likely to be your downfall, essentially. So just be aware. Just be aware of that, okay? Tell me about this. Is there anything else here that you want me to know? No, I don't think so. You're gonna know. And if the love is worth it, then it will show itself also with, it will leave just as much, like it won't leave any room for you to wonder. There will not be doubt in your mind, just as much as it's going to be incredibly clear to you when things come in that are not meant for you. It will be incredibly clear when something comes in that is meant for you too. So just trust yourself, I feel like, is the message more than anything. And the way that you can make, you can strengthen your discernment during this time is continue to develop yourself, continue to reflect, continue to show yourself reverence and grace, and show the cycle of transformation and the whole process of transformation, reverence, right? Because it's all just part of the developmental process, and it's turning you into someone who is available for more abundance, more pleasure, someone who's more balanced, free, devoted, ambitious, and someone who cannot be caged, someone whose victory cannot be taken from them. That's who you're being strengthened into at this time. So don't let anyone you know, into that space to sort of muddy your waters. Okay? If that's something that you're really serious about pursuing, sorry. If you really want to be in your power, then you have to make choices for your own well-being that include not giving that power away. And that is sometimes like making hard choices, right? Can people steal your nice energy if you engage with them physically, or does it stay with you as your own? It really is about like whether you are giving your power away. I find that with like sexual, like specifically with the energy exchange of sexual energy, it can be that it's like if you're not aware, then you can become drained. Just like if you're not aware that an energy vampire is sucking your energy, then they can drain you. But if you are aware and you have a healthy boundary, then that's less likely to happen. But for me, it's more about the energy that I take on through that exchange that affects my energy. So it's not so much about you losing your energy, but it's more about like, again, you have like a clear stream, right? And then someone dumps like mud in the stream. Picture it as that more so, right? Your clean energy is going to be compromised, most likely, because that is an intentional act of allowing, like of putting down your boundaries, being intimate, and allowing energy into you. So I think that's why it's so powerful, right? But yeah. That was a really intense reading. A lot of you guys are dealing with like heavy karma that you're settling the score for right now, or you're really burning through some maybe past life karma, maybe like generational wounds and karma, stuff passed down to you by your parents. This is tough shit, but this is the area that Pluto covers. And the beautiful thing about it is that when you face it, again, it's like I said at the very beginning of the reading, your greatest fear holds the key to your greatest potential. Your greatest fear and your greatest desire are always like this, right? And when you choose to show up and bravely face those parts of yourself, you become infinite. You really do. And it's like, even though you might be triggered or scared or hurt or wounded or confused or destabilized, if you just stay present with yourself through that, I promise you, you will be so proud of the way that you propel yourself forwards. And it's not even about striving to do the work. It's just about staying present with what is transforming within you and finding a way to honor and offer that what it needs, whatever that is, right? You're amazing. I think I'm gonna go eat some dinner. It's like 11:30 p.m. here and I haven't had dinner yet, but yeah, I love you guys so much. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about before I go, but I hope that those messages surrounding this transit were helpful. When I came on initially, I wasn't even planning on specifically talking about that transit, but maybe I'll change the name of this live so that people who want some messages can come through. You're welcome. Thank you guys for sharing your energy with me as well. I also wanted to say that I posted the other day on my community tab, I think it was actually last night, that if you have love to share, send it my way. And so many of you guys commented that you sent me positive energy or that you thought of me, and I truly felt it, and I just want to say thank you so much. I don't want to get emotional, but like, I love you guys, I really do. And in a lot of ways, you guys are for sure like an aspect of family to me that has shown up more consistently, more powerfully, and more lovingly than a lot of what I have experienced throughout my life. And that is always, it always has like a humbling and a softening effect on me, as love does. I'm 36. 36. I do deserve the best. You're right. I turned 37 in February. My Pisces ass. You're 34. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't look my age that much. Nobody ever believes me. I get like carded all the time and I'm like, excuse me, I am an adult. You'll be 43 in February. Ooh, what day is your birthday? Star lover. You don't look 28. I just said it because you're knowledgeable. You have to show your ID. Yeah. Story of my life. Oh, the 22nd. Ooh, mine's on the 25th. Well, happy birthday if I don't talk to you before then. I'm sure I probably will. Yes, everyone be safe out there. Do not be intimidated by these Plutonian energies. Pluto came to love you. Just don't be afraid of tough love and don't be afraid of your own transformation. You are undergoing a glow up. Nothing short of. All right? Mwah. I love you so much. I'm gonna let you go for tonight, but I promise I will talk to you again soon, okay? Thank you for being here and thank you for being you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.